All right, so I know a lot of sellers, myself included, have a difficult time differentiating our product. What does that really mean? What does that look like? Could you give us some examples, right? And I find there's so little information out there, which is why I wanted to make this video dedicated specifically to, specifically 8 different ways or ideas to differentiate your FBA product. And 2 things to really quickly reiterate. Number 1, it is extremely important to differentiate your product. I cannot stress that enough. The whole point of Amazon FBA, right, and why we're kind of embarking on this journey and putting in this money and all this work is ultimately to generate profit, generate income, all right? Differentiating your product will generate income, will help you generate income and generate profit, okay? That's the whole point that we're doing this. You will make more money if you differentiate your product than if you don't. Very simple, bottom line. Number 2, when you're differentiating your product, I get a lot of sellers or students who have come to me and said, Sumner, hey, I want to have, better images. Is that good enough? No. Hey, Sumner, I want to have like a better written listing. Is that good enough? No. You need to actually differentiate the product itself, or that's what I would recommend. There are other people who say you can get away with, changing the design, better packaging, better images, better listing. These are all good things. And by the way, I'm going to show you exactly how to do that as well. That's in my book. That's a baseline, right? That's not you're not really differentiating yourself. That's just kind of, presenting yourself well. But to really differentiate, you need to change something about the physical product itself, okay? And some other things, and I'll talk about that in a second. That's number 2. And when you're differentiating, you want to make sure it's based in actual data, okay? There are 3 ways you can do this. And there are more, but there are 3 ways that I've successfully used before, which is why I'm sharing it with you. Number 1, like I show you how to do, read through 100 or more negative reviews from the top sellers in a particular category, and Amazon customers will literally tell you how to differentiate. Oh, I love this product, but it keeps X, Y, and Z. Oh, I wish this product came in X, Y, and Z color, for my niece. I don't know, I'm just making this up, but read the negative reviews and what are people saying? Oh, I wish this was different, or oh man, it keeps doing this and it drives me nuts, right? And solve their pain point, create a product that solves that problem. That's probably the best strategy. That's what I highly recommend. Super effective, powerful, and honestly not that difficult. But you'd be shocked by how many sellers just don't take the time to do that. They think they can just launch the exact same product with better packaging and images and description, and then they win, right? And that's not the case, which is why, obviously, you're watching this video. So that's another option. Look at what's selling well on eBay, on Walmart, and Etsy, and other sites as well. But on those sites, maybe even Wish.com, and it's things that are selling well on those sites, but maybe that specific product isn't being sold on Amazon. That's a great way and a great opportunity for you. You could be the first to market for this particular type of product that you already know and have data that's selling well on these other sites, and boom, be the first one to bring it to Amazon. For me in particular, right, I saw basically a product that was being sold on Amazon, and they're all pretty much the same, and they're all this product just didn't really work that well, right? Didn't really function that well. So I found a different kind of version of this product that functioned better on a different website, and basically brought it to Amazon, and that's now one of my most successful products. And it's actually still ranking, still kind of, it's still in its infancy, I should say, and I think it has tremendous potential. It could be my best product yet, right? And it's doing fantastic, doing very, very well. I basically took an idea from another website and then boom, brought it to Amazon, and I was the first to do that. And I've had huge success with that. Among other differentiating, right? You can do multiple. You don't have to just choose one, like, oh, I'm going to make it bigger or smaller. I'm going to, make, the design, different. You can do multiple things, right? And then number 3, look at that keyword data, keyword data. So whatever people typing into Amazon, and then find options for things that people are typing in, but there are no options for. I remember there's one time, I'm trying to think of the exact example, and again, I wouldn't recommend doing this, but I was typing in something like gray coaster, right? I typed in gray coaster, and there weren't any gray coasters. It was like gray and white coasters, or like black, like charcoal, but almost like black coasters. And there's nothing like a gray coaster like I was looking for. So, if I were to look at some data and let's say, hey, gray coasters gets like 5,000, broad searches per month, and there's no real option for gray coaster, that could be a great opportunity for you, right? You'd be the first one to produce a gray coaster. It's different from all the other options, right? And sometimes people will type it on Amazon and just kind of choose the best option, or they'll see that there's nothing that they want and they'll go to another website and purchase there, right? So, look at search data. What are people typing into Amazon? And you can use seller.tools for this. You can use the Viral Launch keyword research tool. Again, I have links to those below, among other research tools, right? Keyword research tools. So that's another really powerful way. All right, so those are kind of 3 ways, and there are many more, right? There are literally infinite possibilities, but those will be super helpful. I've used them myself and made money from that and had success with those methods. So that's why I recommend them to you. But of course, use your own discretion in kind of differentiating your product, and don't just blindly kind of follow advice, right? It depends on the product you're going after and the category you're in. All right, so now let's get into the actual meat of the video, right? The 8 ways to differentiate your product, or 8 ideas to differentiate your product. So number 1 is the design, and I kind of touched on all of these, at the beginning of the video, but I'll just kind of go into a little bit more detail so you actually have some examples or some ideas in your head instead of just listing them off like some of these other articles or videos. So number 1, design. Maybe you change the design. If there's only a product for men, maybe you make it appeal toward, women, or if it's only for adults, maybe more toward kids, or the opposite, right? So toward a different audience. Maybe you change the design, the color of something. Something as simple as the color could make a huge difference, right? There's really infinite ideas in terms of the actual design, how a product looks, how it feels, or actually more of like how it looks, the design aspect. Particularly if a product is mainly being sold because of a design, right? Like some kind of, like for example, artwork, for example. The design is very, very, very important with artwork, where it's maybe not so important for something more functional. Like for example, a part to a motorcycle engine. The design of it probably isn't as important. As long as it works, the functionality, that's very important, but the design isn't as important. So if design is important to a particular product, then you may want to change or differentiate based on that. And again, read through the negative reviews, look at, analyze search volume, all that is going to really, really help you. Make sure it's based in data. Number 2, bundling items. So think about, like, if you're selling a product, right? Think about the customer. Why are they buying it? Like, is there any other small thing that you could like add in with that product or bundle with that product to be sold as kind of one unit? For example, if someone's buying, and this is a bad example, but if someone's buying peanut butter, they're highly likely to also be buying jelly. So if everyone's on Amazon selling peanut butter, and then there's also all these other sellers selling jelly, you could be the first seller to both sell it together in one bundle, or kind of have this unique product that's like half jam, half jelly, right? There's actually obviously a product that we're probably aware of that actually has like jelly and jam in the same container, right? Which is a really innovative idea, and I'm sure it sells well. I'm sure it appeals to a specific market. I know I've used it before because I do love PB&J sandwiches. Again, not the best example for FBA specifically, but you get the idea, right? Think about the customer. They're buying your product for a specific purpose. What else are they buying, or what else are they doing that you could help them with, right? For example, if you're selling a basketball, right? After a certain period of time, what are people going to need to do with the basketball? They're going to need to, inflate it. So maybe have a small pump included with your basketball, for example, right? So bundling items together, very, very super powerful way to differentiate. Number 3, the quality of the material, also super important. And you'd be shocked by how many people just don't do this. If people complain, this is kind of cheap material, and this is huge because in general, you're going to be competing against a lot of like Chinese sellers, or a lot of Amazon FBA sellers that do not know or do not care, into what they're doing, right? And don't put care into their listings or into their products. They just try to maximize profit and really put the customer last. Don't even think about the customer at all. So what you want to do is potentially, if people are saying, yeah, for example, I love the design, but man, it's just really crappy material. It just feels really cheap. It just looks really cheap, or whatever it is. Maybe consider improving the quality of the material. Maybe it's like, this is a great product, but like, man, it's not eco-friendly. Maybe make it out of eco-friendly material, right? The quality or the type of material, right? This is way too thick. Like, maybe make it thinner. Like, I don't know, just different ideas of the material itself, the quality of the material that's being used. Number 4, images and packaging. This is definitely going to help you differentiate. However, I want to make it very, very clear. Do not just have better photos and better packaging and better listing, right? Don't just rely on that to differentiate, because it's very easy for your competitor to do the exact same thing, okay? You want to do something that's more difficult for the competitor to copy. And now you will have people copying you no matter what. If you're the first to market and make a change, unless you patent it, which could be a really great option, and you can absolutely do that. Consider patenting your idea first before selling it on Amazon. Again, you definitely don't have to. You can have a ton of success not doing it, but that's another option as well. But let's just assume you're not going to patent your idea, or it's not patentable. You can't patent it. Then you'll still have success even in differentiating because you'll be the first to market, okay? But images and packaging will help you differentiate, having better, and I definitely require that as or recommend that as a requirement to do that and something else, and that's going to help you put you so much far ahead and hopefully take all the revenue, right? Ethically steal all that market share for that particular category. That's what I ultimately want for you, is to just dominate the category. That's really going to help you do that. Number 5, size. Are people complaining like, oh, the item's too big, oh, it's too small? And again, maybe thinking about, if this is only used, if it's only made for men, if you make it for women, maybe making, and for example, I'm not trying to stereotype, but maybe making a smaller size or whatever it may be, right? So maybe changing the size of the material. Number 7, the origin. So where does it come from? Is there a benefit to saying made in Germany, made in the USA, made in Japan versus made in China, right? Is that important? Maybe FDA approved, right? Or, BPA, and that's kind of changing the quality of the material a little bit, but like origin, I guess I'm thinking more like organic. Is something like sourced organically, is something free trade, right? It's not, to ensure people it's not being made by, God forbid, it's being made ethically, I should say. I should, stop myself. So the origin of the material, is that important to consumers, right? If you're making, for example, if you're making a, American-based item, maybe made in the USA is really going to resonate well. Or you're making something that's, whatever it may be, but made in the USA, made in Japan, made in Germany, think of creative ways of changing the origin or making it, organic, eco-friendly, things like that as well. Just some ideas. And then number 8, the price. Again, this is something that you will definitely need to look at to differentiate. However, this alone, obviously, price alone is not going to change anyone's mind, right? Unless maybe it's super, super cheap and you have awesome reviews and maybe people will give it a try, but I wouldn't recommend doing that. And when I say price, you can differentiate yourself by having a higher price point. Don't just think about low price point, right? And making yourself cheaper. If you are improving, and especially if you're improving the quality of the material and you have better images and packaging, and maybe your design is better and you hit on all these 3 things right here and you bundle or whatever, your price should better be higher. It should be. People expect it to be higher. You can actually hurt yourself by not having a higher price point because people are like, oh, like, is it really better quality if it's the same price point? And you can just, you can run a simple survey to see in terms of, putting your listing, kind of photoshopping it into the results on Amazon with one price versus another price, and then asking people, which option would you buy? That could be a way of kind of testing the price. But really the only way you're going to know is by actually testing it. But if you are truly, and you should be doing this, but if you're truly making a better version, a better quality, a more premium version, which there's a ton of opportunity on Amazon because there's so many people just trying to be the cheapest, that if you're the dominant, number one, there's high likelihood you could have higher profit margins. If you do it right, you should absolutely have higher profit margins than all your competitors. Number 2, you're the only one creating a better version, a better quality version of this product. You're going to steal a ton of market share from the existing competitors, the existing sellers, right? So, you don't always have to be the premium quality brand. It's something to consider, and especially if you're making a better quality product, you should have a higher price point. Now, maybe if you're the same quality, but you're just different, right? You appeal to a different group, then having a similar price point makes more sense, right? And you can also, if there's only premium, super expensive brands out there on Amazon, and you want to come in and you want to be the low-cost provider, you want to be the seller that has the lowest price than anybody else, you can do that, okay? Again, it all depends. It depends so much on the product and the category, and I can't just give you a blanket term that fits everything, right? I can only give you ideas for your own decision making, and of course, hopefully this is helpful. But consider having a higher price point, actually. And a lot of times, this can actually be a much smarter move, right? Because people are actually going to buy more of your product at a higher price point than if it was a lower price point. Okay, so just some 8 tips I wanted to kind of touch on. I shared this individually with my Facebook group and got a huge, really great response from it. So I want to make a video specifically about this. And thanks so much for watching. I hope this was helpful. If you have any questions or you're stuck in your product differentiation, or maybe even have more ideas that I didn't share here, comment those in the YouTube comments below and post in our Facebook group. Make sure that you join. You're more than welcome to join and post. And I or another seller will get back to you with some helpful comments and input as soon as possible. And if you like this video, which I hope you did, be sure to give me the thumbs up and hit the subscribe button below, because I have a lot of other great, really powerful tips just like this that aren't shared anywhere else on my channel, and I have a lot more coming to you very, very soon. And when you hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, it lets me know that I'm putting out good content, and it kind of helps me put out more good content. So let me know. I hope you found it helpful. And as always, thanks for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.